But it was a great night in sports. The Boston Bruins famously weren't dead, still aren't dead. They get a Game 5 win. People were playing that Bon Jovi. People are giving super chats for $13 because of the 13 shots prediction. Yeah. Sean, do you have that clip?
Yes, I do.
Play it.
Just fucking shoot it from anywhere.
Can I say this? If the Bruins have 13 shots on goal in the first period tonight, they will win the game. That is my ironclad guarantee.
That's like an unrealistic expectation at
10
this
shots
point.
on.
If the Bruins get 13 shots on goal in the first period, they're winning the Stanley Cup.
13 shots on goal, exactly, for your Boston Bruins in the first period.
It's incredible.
And they won the game.
Shout out to the Boston Bruins, the 2024 Stanley Cup champions. You'll love to see it.
I don't think that this series is over. So I'm not going to say that they can't win the Stanley Cup.
I don't think they're gonna. I said yesterday, I didn't want the Bruins to win that game unless they kicked Florida's ass. And you know what? I changed my mind because that felt awesome. And I've completely kind of I've readjusted my view on the series. You win yesterday's game. They had a great game. Awesome defensive effort. We'll get into that in a little bit. But like, it's just a really, really respectable effort from the Bruins that I was waiting for. And now, even if they fucking lose Game 6, yeah, it's going to hurt. But losing in 6 to the Florida Panthers, that's respectable as well. And I don't think the series is over. I think that was a galvanizing victory for the Boston Bruins. And I wanted something to wash the taste out of my mouth from Game 5. And that was perfect.
It's a jumping off point because there have been 3 games this series that the Panthers have outplayed the Bruins. And you could say the Panthers are the better roster than the Bruins. They definitely are. There have been 3 games that the Panthers have outplayed the Bruins. There have been 2 that the Bruins have outplayed the Panthers. And this is a series where the better team has won every game. I don't think the Bruins were much better than the Panthers. I think the Panthers in the last couple of periods came back, which has been a thing this entire series, short of, I want to say it was Game 3 or 4, when the Bruins really poured it on in the third period, whatever the game was where Lauko turned it on and DeBrusk had a great... Like, other than that, it's been the Panthers have kind of kept coming at the Bruins and kept coming at them, and they almost tied it last night. Jeremy Swayman at the end of the game was really good for the Bruins on a night that I didn't think that Jeremy Swayman was amazing, but it's a jumping off point. They now have momentum going back to Boston. Brad Marchand maybe comes back, and there hasn't been a game this series where the Bruins have like really kicked the Panthers' ass, but maybe that comes on Friday.
It's worth pointing out, I mean, you mentioned that over the final 40, they made a push. I don't always live and die by natural stat trick in the way that they score things, but they had the Bruins holding the Florida Panthers to 0 high danger chances in the first and third periods of that game.
Yeah, that was wrong.
5-on-5.
That was wrong. Well, it's 5-on-5. Well, when the goalie was
6-on-5,
yeah, right.
right.
6-on-5. Like Swayman had to make a couple of big saves.
Right.
So,
like at the end of the game, they definitely had a surge, and I was worried. But the Bruins played a very strong game at 5-on-5. Where I'm concerned is the power play still looks like absolute dog shit. They're taking too many penalties. Another too many men, a 6th too many men this postseason. You got to figure that shit out. But at 5-on-5, I thought they looked much better. They were winning battles. Like, they were really strong on the walls. They were quick to clear the defensive zone. They didn't fail the exits and the clears as much as they did previously in the series. I thought their passes were really, really good in the first period and got a little bit less crisp as the game went on. But altogether, I think that was like their strongest 5-on-5 effort of the series by far.
what did you think of Jeremy Swayman?
I didn't think that he was as bad as you seem to. His rebound control, not amazing, but
His rebound control was bad. That was his first. And I know that he's had games where he's allowed more goals and everything. That was the most tired he's looked, which should make sense because it's the latest in the series and he's played more than he ever has. That was a game where you're thankful that you have Jeremy Swayman because he's a player who has a B game. And we're going to talk about Oilers coming out. Like Stu Skinner, the reason he's sitting right now is he does not have a B game. Butch Cassidy used to say that about Malcolm Subban. When he was in Providence, he'd be like, yeah, his problem is he doesn't have a B game. If he isn't like on, he's off and he kind of stinks. Jeremy Swayman, I didn't think was as sharp as he's been at points in this series or this postseason, and he still only allowed 1 goal. The one goal that he allowed, he wouldn't have allowed in games past because he would have gloved that Forsling shot before, and he gives up that rebound there. They keep it in the zone. There ends up being a little chaos in front of the net. Swayman has another opportunity to tie it up, and it goes in. I'm not getting on him because he allowed one goal. I'm saying this is the other side of a guy standing on his head. He's doing everything for your team. But because he has a B game, he allows one goal and stays in it and battles through it. I thought he was fighting it a little bit last night, but he fucking fought it and won. So the Bruins finally have 2 games off. They need that 2 days off. They very badly need that. And I was texting with you and Katie last night. I would just give him a sick day and tell him, like, here, go home, eat some mashed potatoes, drink Gatorade, whatever you fucking want, watch trashy TV, unplug, because Friday's going to be big.
I want to mention Charlie McAvoy finally got on the board. Great goal. Charlie McAvoy looked pretty good. Pretty good. He also had a massive play in the third period on the wall that allowed them to clear on the 6-on-5, which was fucking huge. Charlie McAvoy, dumped on him so many times this postseason. Got to give him credit for a good game. But it would be fucking nice to get a good game at the same time from Charlie McAvoy and Hampus Lindholm.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen, but fuck.
Hampus Lindholm stinks in the playoffs.
With the exception of Game 7, you have to point out big Game 7. They wouldn't even be here without Hampus Lindholm. But fuck, man, that Too Many Men, they could have been totally fucked on that Too Many Men because there were 2 penalties. You could have called Hampus Lindholm for the trip on that Too Many Men sequence. So Hampus Lindholm, get your shit together, please. And we also have to talk about
No, not done with that.
Go. Okay.
Jim Montgomery, I was told you'd be grabbing pants. I know that's Hampus Lindholm's fault, but they have 6 Too Many Men penalties this postseason. He said, I will grab players' pants before I let them go out on the ice and jump early. Fucking, what happened to grabbing pants, bud?
The problem is I forget who it was. It might have been Peak called for the change and Hampus.
But then the play continued, so you have to have that awareness. Grab the pants.
But Lindholm can easily not try to make a play there.
It's 100% Lindholm's fault, and it 10%
don't need to grab the pants.
By
so
grabbing pants.
I'm not blaming Jim Montgomery.
He shouldn't have to grab pants, but he said it's gotten so bad I'm going to grab pants. Sir, your hands were empty last night.
Okay, we got to talk about the goaltender interference, the Danton Heinen goaltender interference. What was your read on it?
It was goaltender interference.
Do you think so? Like,
yes,
I was definitely.
He fucking hit his pad in the crease, hit his leg, and I know that that's not why he dropped his stick, but that is goaltender interference. There is not a chance in hell it was going to be called goaltender interference. That makeup call was owed. It wasn't as bad a goaltender interference as Bennett in Game 4, but that was goaltender interference. It wasn't going to be called goaltender interference. There's a thing that Bruins fans are doing right now, which is they haven't gotten all the calls, and when you don't get all the calls, then every single call turns into like, oh, well, here we go again. They did it on Luosterainen when Lohrei took him down at the end of that horrible fucking power play. That's a fucking penalty. He's going to be called for that.
The one that was worth complaining about was the Charlie Coyle hook, which was just nonsense. The Heinen thing, the Heinen thing, I agree that like when you get your stick into the skate of the goaltender, and especially in the blue paint, that is goaltender interference. Where after a few replays, I kind of changed my position. He had plenty of time to reset for the shot, and I don't think that the Heinen stick was made enough of a significant difference to Bobrovsky's position that didn't allow him to reset for the McAvoy shot. So I think that it's a judgment call. I don't think that it's very much black and white. It's way less black and white than the Bennett one, like you mentioned. But I could see either side. I initially said that I thought that it was goaltender interference because I thought Heinen's stick got Bobrovsky's stick, in which case that would have been 1,000% goaltender interference. But after seeing it was Oliver Ekman-Larsson who knocked the stick out, I do think Bobrovsky had enough time to reset and make the save.
And that's where the judgment call thing comes in, and that's why they were never going to call it goaltender interference
100%.
Because they were so owed a makeup call there. But to the black and whiteness of it is, did he interfere with the goaltender in the crease on a scoring play? The answer is yes. So if you wanted to make it black and white, then that's goaltender interference, just like Sam Bennett was goaltender interference last game. But there's no way that with what happened in
100%.
Boston, they were going to call that goaltender interference.
You actually think that's how that works? Like, you really think that they're
you
making
think it was a makeup
calls?
call?
Like that in the situation? Like, I
1,000%.
understand
Yes,
in the moment on the ice.
1,000%. Yes.
I don't buy that at all.
1,000%.
So then why wasn't it? So then why wasn't it goaltender? Was it the fucking song and dance Pete just did?
Yeah, I think he had plenty of time to reset. I don't think that the contact that was made with him in the crease did anything to prevent him from making
I think that if Heinen was the one to knock Bob's stick out,
100% agree.
No, I'm saying I think if he was the one to knock that stick out and it was 1,000%
goaltender
goaltender interference, I still think they would have counted the goal.
No,
I absolutely think they still would have counted the goal.
No
It was a heat check from Paul Maurice to challenge that. Like, what do you fucking think is going to happen, bud? There's no
I'm
way.
curious. Whenever challenges like that happen, I'm very curious who made the call, because our friend Petey was a video coach. One of his big gripes oftentimes is coaches ignoring the video coach, because the video coach has replays and they'll tell them, do not challenge this, and coaches will be like, go fuck yourself, I'm challenging it anyways, and then they end up losing. So I'm very curious who ultimately made that call, but I understand why you challenge it, but I don't think it was goaltender interference, and I refuse to live in a world in which anybody in the NHL is making calls for any reason other than the fact that they think it's the right call.
Oh my God,
that is,
Sean!
yeah, that is
No,
such a
because
naive.
I'm so
It's such an
tired of
idealistic way to look at it.
No, because I'm tired of this conspiracy theory bullshit that Bruins fans have been peddling all playoffs.
No, that is bullshit. Like, there's no way
that's
the
part of
league
it.
wants
That's also
Florida.
the welcome to being a sports fan, buddy.
Yeah.
And Bruins fans do that for sure. As I said, with the low ride thing, oh my God, no, they're doing this. You still can't take penalties.
Right.
You'll be called for penalties, you fucking idiots. And it waters down your argument on like the Sam Bennett thing. There's two bullshit things that happen involving Sam Bennett. Keep complaining about those when you say, oh, and now the Charlie Coyle hook. Bullshit. The other things, though, when you say, oh, you're going to call us for this? Well, yeah, you can't commit penalties.
Even the one where I forget whose stick got caught up high, and then McAvoy skated into the stick, and two Bruins players got like a stick up high. That's not high sticking. It's not. McAvoy skated into a stick. Like, it's just not high sticking.
I agree. That was so ridiculous.
But
yeah.
No, so for the goaltender interference, I think that's goaltender interference in the regular season. I don't think that they're going to call that in the playoffs, and I definitely don't think they're going to call it on the game after the Bruins got absolutely fucking hosed on a obvious goaltender interference. So I'd never thought that goal was going to get taken off the board, and I don't think that it should have been taken off the board based off the circumstances.
The worst crime there was that Florida lost that challenge, and then we had to witness the worst power play we've ever seen from the Bruins. So for all the anger that came from the Bruins during that game, we'll talk about Jim Montgomery in just a minute. He was fantastic. What a fascinating guy that is. For all the anger and for all the lamenting that happened with the Luosterainen thing, the Bruins got outshot 3-0 on a power play on which they could have put the game away, on which they could have made it 3-1, and then that would have been it, because while Swayman, as I said, rebound control wasn't great, they were playing better defensively in front of him. I would have thought that game was, I already thought it was over once they got 13 shots on goal, but that was their opportunity to really bear down and put the game away, and it was the worst power play I've ever seen in my life.
And not to, like, it ended with a Florida power play.
Yes.
So I agree. Like, if you get a if you win a challenge, or I guess if the other team loses a challenge and you get an ensuing power play and convert on that power play, that's so fucking demoralizing. Their power play needs to absolutely get it together, which brings me to this question. Do you consider messing with the defensive group heading into Game 6? Because their defensive group had a really, really good game. But I do think part of it, like, they miss Kevin Shattenkirk on the power play. But, like, I don't know if I would mess with the six that they ran out there for
defensively.
Game 5.
All I care about if I'm the Bruins in Game 6, there is one assignment and one job. All it is Sasha Barkov. Just whatever you fucking need to do. If you need to go Lindholm, McAvoy, if you need to do whatever you need to do, like, neutralize Sasha Barkov and take your chances 5-on-5. You're going to lose the depth battle there, but you know what? Sometimes things are weird. You're going to have Marchand in the lineup, so who knows? All I care about defensively is neutralize Sasha Barkov and then do whatever the fuck you want with the rest of it. I'd like Shattenkirk to be in there regularly, but I also understand you're picking from a group of underwhelming players.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to point out, like, they haven't scored with Shattenkirk on the power play yet this postseason either. I just think they look a little bit better, and his biggest strength is being on the power play. I also would like to see the Bruins convert on a breakaway because holy fuck.
Bob was the best.
He was so good last night.
At the end of the game, I think Jeremy Swayman earned the maybe better goaltender or like bigger moment, whatever. Bob was awesome last night, and I think he's been underwhelming / untested this entire series. He was great last night. Multiple breakaways. I thought the biggest save of the game wasn't the one on DeBrusk. It was that DeBrusk was basically just throwing it at him to create a rebound. Mm-hmm. Who else had a terrible breakaway?
That would be one Pavel Zacha.
Oh yeah, whatever.
Stinks.
No, that's gonna happen. Zacha, I actually kind of liked Zacha last night. Third line center. God bless.
He has a breakaway and fucking takes a limp dick wrister from the dot.
He's so fucking lost now, though, that like I'll take any signs of progress I can get out of him. I feel bad for him at this point. And I said it last night after the game, like the chickens have been coming home to roost with the Bruins centers wise, but Morgan Geekie was your first line center last night, and not only did you win the game, he scored a goal for you. Massive hats off. Like my gold stars for last night go to Jeremy Swayman for sticking to it in a game where I didn't think he was at his best. Charlie McAvoy for having 6 more shots on goal than he's had in any game this series by having 6 shots on goal. And Morgan Geekie. Like, good for that fucking guy.
Geekie rocks. Yeah, there were 2 points in that game last night where I thought the Bruins might lose. It was when Bob made the save on Frederick, the secondary chance off the DeBrusk breakaway. Do you remember, like, he made the initial save, and then Frederick, like, I can't believe that he made that
that's
save
what I was saying. Like, DeBrusk was just throwing it on him so to get Frederick a chance.
And then the turnover that led to Pasternak's chance right in front, that Pasternak ended up sliding it through Bob's legs. He had, like, the whole left side of the net open and went back across the body. I thought that the Bruins were going to lose after they didn't convert on those 2 chances because, like, to hold the Panthers to 1 goal is an unrealistic expectation if you're the Bruins. So I needed a fucking 3rd goal from that team, and it just didn't matter. But fuck, what a good game for the Bruins to get back in the series.
We all silly like the mayor.